Just accept the fact you're going to hear that over and over again. Welcome to another edition of MMDI, the show that reviews films that are filled with monsters, murderers, and just plain f***ed up stuff. Another category that seems to be reoccurring on this channel is giant bugs, mostly from the southwest of the United States. Gee, I wonder why.
I don't know.
This time we move over to New Mexico. Today's creepy crawly delight is the 1954 sci-fi horror mint condition classic Them. Directed by Gordon Douglas, starring my good buddy, James Arness. Alright, let's get ready to scream. Ooh, haven't said that one in a while. Still needs some work. This gem was produced by Warner Brothers. Not sure why the name is in red, but I dig it. Makes it seem more spooky. The movie begins as the local state police conduct a search based on a tip they got. As the team is about to call it a day, the plane sees a small child wandering across the desert. The two police officers are Sergeant Ben Peterson, played by James Whitmore, and Ed Blackbird, played by Chris Drake. The little girl is played by Sandy Drescher. The police get another call from the plane that there is a camper nearby which could be connected to the little girl. When they get to the trailer, it is trashed like a sorority house right after the first kegger at the beginning of the fall semester. So they call in the cleanup crew to come examine the trailer. After a thorough examination of the area, the only thing that turns up is some weird, strange prints in the sand, and then some weird, crazy sounds in the distance. Hold on a second.
If I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back those words that'll hurt you, and you'd stay.
Oh, good Lord, that is quite terrifying. The two police officers decide to head to the local shop that's owned by Graham Johnson to see if he'd heard or seen anything throughout the day. His place was pretty smashed up, too. Well, that's what you get for having a shop in the middle of the desert, dude. They find the old man dead at the bottom of his panic room, and his sugar storage was smashed into. Ben tells Ed to stay behind because he wants to get back to the station to see if the little girl started talking yet. Unfortunately for Ben, we hear that strange screech again. After Ed's death, and with all the evidence piling up, Ben and his superior, Captain Fred Edwards, played by Don Shelton, both are pretty stressed out over this whole mystery. They also get word that the trailer belonged to an FBI agent on vacation. Looks like he won't be back in the office for Monday. If the desert is 110 degrees, whose idea was it for everyone to wear black? With this information, they get in contact with the local feds, and they send out Robert Graham, played by James Arness, our hero. He is also stumped by the clues that have been piling up. Graham has the mold of whatever this footprint is sent to his bureau in Washington to see if they can figure it out. To make matters worse, the coroner shows up after doing Old Man Johnson's autopsy and discovers this.
Well, old man Johnson could have died in any one of 5 ways. His neck and back were broken, his chest was crushed, his skull was fractured, and here's one for Sherlock Holmes. There was enough formic acid in him to kill 20 men.
Later, Ben and Robert get word that the FBI is sending 2 specialists in the field of agriculture to come check out what's going down. Here we meet Dr. Menford, played by Edmund Gwenn, and his daughter, Patricia Medford, played by Joan Weldon. After being brought up to date on all the current events, and here comes our subplot, nuclear bombs are the cause of all of our problems.
In what area was the atomic bomb exploded? I mean the first one, back in 1945.
It was right here in the same general area, White Sands.
Ben, Robert, and the 2 doctors head out to visit the little girl they found in the desert. He uses a formic acid to snap her out of her trance. Why acid? You'll see. After the little girl freaks out like she's at a Jonas Brothers concert, they head to the 2 sites where it all started. But it all starts to make sense once they find the beast. Dude's got one hell of a shot. After they pump the bug full of iron, Menford explains that this is only one of 1,000 possible bugs that are roaming around the desert, and that they need to find the nest before they expand and take over the world.
We may be witnesses to a biblical prophecy come true.
This is General Robert O'Brien. Another Robert. Another movie where we're running out of names. They fly around the desert trying to find what they think is the nest. And when they do, they find their missing people. They get the idea to lay down phosphorus grenades. I'm sorry, phosphorus nades, because this is America. The Army sure is relaxed about who uses bazookas. Again, is the Army so short-staffed that they have to let Rob and Ben use the bazookas, and now the gas, and now they're letting them check the nest? Anyway, Patricia joins them on the exploration because she's the only one who knows what they need to be looking for at the moment. Apparently, she's the only one who could spot a giant ant. Really, what she's looking for is to see if they killed the new queens that were possibly born inside the nest, because if they get out, they could start their own colonies, and that'll be a whole new whirlwind of shit for these people. I like this scene because it kind of reminds me of Aliens. Looking at you again, James. After they burn what is left of the nest, the 3 return to the surface to inform everyone that the queens have escaped. We now see a meeting with all the top military brass, and just like in Tarantula, we get a classroom science video. We learn that ants are the most vicious animals on Earth, besides human beings that is, because they're the only species that wages war for fun. They conclude that they're going to have to lay in wait until the ants strike, but until then they send up a local task force to look for anything that might seem weird or out of place to locate. They get a few tips and leads, but nothing concrete. And then they get word that one of the queens landed aboard a ship while it was docked, and then while the ship was out at sea, the eggs hatched. The Navy ends up sinking the ship and killing all of aboard. While the military discusses the incident at sea, Ben and Rob head to LA to investigate a rather large theft of sugar. A little subplot kicks in. They're looking for 2 boys that went missing. They know the father is definitely killed by judging by his wounds. They figure out that the ants are using the water drains under the city to hide, and they come out at night to eat. They put the city on lockdown and bring in the troops. That's right. the only way America can. The army gears up to go inside the drains to look for the two boys in hopes they're still alive. And this time, to also hopefully get the queens and kill them before they can escape.
Mike! Jerry! Are you there?
Yes, we're here!
They find the boys deep in the sewer system.
Tell Mrs. Lodge her boys are alive.
No matter how many times I watch this movie, my heart still beats like crazy at this part. Ben is able to save the boys, but bites the big one right as Robert comes to his rescue. Robert is able to find the nest and the newly hatched queens. Pat confirms that it's the nest and both queens are still present, so they roast the two mothers. They watch as the ants burn to death, and Robert asks Pat,
If these monsters got started as a result of the first atomic bomb in 1945, what about all the others that have been exploded since then?
I don't know.
it kind of makes for a creepy ending to the movie, I think. And that was the movie Them. Alongside the movie A Thing from Another World, this is another one of my favorite movies. The ants look pretty sick for the time this movie was made, and the movie never drags and keeps you entertained the entire time. This is another one that I highly recommend for anyone who's into the 1950s monster movies. And that's all for today, kiddies. Next time we head to Japan for some giant, hot, green and brown kaiju action. If you actually enjoyed that, you're disgusting.